and gentlemen, it's a lovely Friday evening, and before you all head out to your parties, we bring you yet another episode of KYABAE Talkies, and this one is going to be special like all the other ones. Today we're going to interview Himanshu and Rohit. I'd like to welcome you on KYABAE Talkies.
Thank you.
To give you a little brief about this, Himanshu and Rohit used to work at EY and Alvarez and Marcel for over 7 years. And about 18 months ago, they have started this wonderful startup called Easemint, which not only helps other startups, but also other companies. Easemint is a management consulting firm that assists other companies with financial and strategy needs. Welcome to KYABAE Talkies. As you all know, KYABAE stands for Know Your Adhikar before anything else. And it was started with the purpose of spreading consumer awareness and promoting the spirit of entrepreneurship. And today we are promoting Easemint, a beautiful startup that we are going to hear more about from Himanshu and Rohit. So Himanshu, tell us, what exactly is the business about?
Sure. So Easemint is a management consulting firm where we assist companies with their financial and strategy needs. When I talk about financial and strategy, we focus on 3 broad categories of our services. One, we call it as a growth tracking solution, wherein we identify growth KPIs with respect to the particular business and the industry which is operating into, and track them on a regular basis. It helps the companies in taking critical business decisions, and we help them in taking those informed business decisions. Next is growth catalyst solution, where we assist companies with their fundraise process and take them to their next level of growth. Lastly is growth energizers, wherein we assist companies in streamlining their processes in the systems and achieving their next phase of growth. So this is what all about Easemint.
So in short, if you are a startup and you think that your startup is ready for the next level of growth, or maybe you're finding it a little difficult to grow to that level, Easemint is the one. They are here to help you achieve that growth. That's a fantastic idea. How did you all come up with the name for this startup?
So Easemint is basically a combination of 2 words. One is ease and the second one is mint. Ease stands, as the word suggests, easy, and mint stands for money. So it's easy financial services or advisory to the companies and help them in achieving their next phase of growth.
That's great. That's very innovative. Let's hear from Rohit here. You all left your dream jobs in large corporate firms and then took this leap into entrepreneurship. Why exactly?
So basically, so when you're working with EY and Alvarez and Marshall, which is one of the top consulting firm across the globe. So we have worked across, one of the best MNCs of the world. So other than that, we also came across a couple of growing companies. So when we worked across a couple of growing companies, we realized these companies are a little different from the MNCs. Why? Firstly, they don't have that bandwidth in terms of, streamlining their processes. They don't have the resources, just to resources in terms of time, in terms of financial resources, so that they can sit back and streamline the entire processes. So we thought this is a grey area where we as a consultant ourselves, we thought why not assist those companies who actually needs the advisory, the right kind of advisory to reach the level of growth which the founder perceive.
Like any other smart businessman, Himanshu and Rohit here found a little crack in that in the space where they could come in and set up their business, and now they are joining 2 problem facing companies and can help one grow to another level by providing them funding and lot of other growth strategies. That's a brilliant strategy. How did you test and validate your product exactly?
So so before we started off with Easemint, so we have actually worked across many similar companies during our experience with Alvarez and Marshall. Apart from that, we have also visited offices of these growing companies just to understand what are the pain areas that they are facing, to just to identify what are the actual need of a company of the hour. So we identified those pain areas. We also tested couple of our services free of cost for a couple of companies just to identify if are we doing things right. So that's how so we have tested our product, and that's how we started. We cultivated our entire products portfolio.
That's great. As entrepreneurs, I'm pretty sure you all will agree, now is the time for startups in our country to really grow, especially with the government and the Prime Minister supporting startups and supporting entrepreneurship. So in such a scenario, there must be so many companies that help startups in this country. What makes your venture unique and stand out from amongst them?
So since we are coming from background of working with globally reputed consulting firms, we know the quality which they brings into the table. So we are basically we have seen the best practices while working with them. So we are basically inculcating those best practices into these growing companies and trying to set ourselves apart from the rest of the market. So the quality is something which we focus, which is like prime, where we cannot compromise on it, and the delivery of our delivery is something which we consider the utmost for us in order to succeed in this.
Just to add on that, so basically the kind of service we provide, suppose the growth tracking solution, which generally people call it management information system. So under growth tracking, we just not provide the numbers, we actually provide them some literature in terms of what are the improvement areas that the company should have, what are the process improvement points that the company should have, and also some of the business development areas where the company should focus. So our growth tracking platform is not just numbers. It's we marry the operation and the financial numbers and also provide them insight, where they could improvise.
So Easemint not only provides you with the analysis but also provides you with the solutions whereby you can push your company to the next level. A very unique service that they have mentioned is something called D3. Can you all tell us more about that?
Sure. So D3 stands for dummy due diligence.
Okay.
So generally, so in our experience, what happen is, so when a due diligence generally happen when any startups or any company go for a fundraise, investor do or analyze the historical performance and also the future business that they have. So during the due diligence process, that actually eats up a lot of management bandwidth. So considering that, so we thought, why not we become a additional bandwidth for the management for that short time period, since we come from that background, from the investor background and also from the company's background. We understand the actual pain areas, in terms of what investor asks, what the due diligence team asks. So before an actual due diligence happens, we go to a company, we take the download of all the data that they have. We do a first leg of analysis from our end, then get the due diligence done from an investor appointment due diligence team. This actually, saves lots of management bandwidth.
That's fantastic, guys. All you entrepreneurs out there should really be listening up and coming to Easemint to take their services to really improve the way your company works. Himanshu, now I'm pretty sure two of you all are experts at raising money, so please give our viewers some tips on how they can raise some money for their startups.
Sure. Basically, whenever you're sort of starting up or when you're in the entrepreneurship journey, so you should not sort of look at your business just to raise funds, or you should not build your business for the investor point of view. You should rather look at it whether you are solving a real problem, whether you have paying customers with you, and then according whether it's a great business to be into. Don't just build business or take decisions whether that investor will like it or not like it. Investment, getting the funds is the secondary part. First, building the business and solving a real problem is something which is very important in the whole journey.
I hope you are listening. The real tip to raising money is improve your product and do your business with all your heart. That's some fantastic advice. So how have you all raised money for your startup? Do you all prefer doing it organically, or have you all had external investors?
So far we are bootstrapped, but there are plans to it. So we are basically brainstorming on our technology platform, which we are thinking of bringing it up. So therein we could sort of explore the external funding route. But as of now, we are bootstrapped.
And where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? What's next for your venture and the future of Easemint?
So currently it's been 18 months into this journey, and it's been quite fantastic and encouraging, getting the feedback from the clients, actually getting onto the grounds and listening to what actually the problem is. And looking at, the need of these kind of services, we see that there's a huge opportunity to basically provide these kind of services. Looking at, the kind of the companies and the family-owned businesses which they have started focusing on the processes and the systems, we see a very bright future for Easemint. And if we talk about the next 5 to 10 years, we would like to see a team of 100 people who are working with us and helping entrepreneurs in building up their businesses and building up their process-driven companies.
That's great. Today Easemint is just a group of 5 to 10 entrepreneurs, but tomorrow it could jolly well become a huge company of more than 100 employees. And I wish you all the very best for that. Couple of questions. What was your KYABAE moment where you saw something, you stood up, raised your voice and said, this needs to change?
So when we have worked across many SMEs, so we have seen most of them are people driven rather than a process driven. So for example, if any person is not there, that thing never happens. So we thought, why not make it a process driven company? Any company a process driven company. So that was our KYABAE moment. So so actually making any company a process driven company so that the company can run even any person is not available at that point of time.
That's a phenomenal idea. We focus on products, we focus on services. Easemint focuses on the process. and automating the process so that it runs without their involvement. The last question, there are a lot of young entrepreneurs who can be inspired by these two boys working at Easemint. What advice do you have for them?
So, one set of advice, adding to what Himanshu said earlier, just don't start your company for the sake of raising fund. Apart from that, no idea is good idea unless and until you execute it. So just don't keep those ideas in your brain. Just go ahead and execute those ideas. So, the fear of what could happen, make nothing happen. So just make it and just do it.
It's very important to not keep your ideas only in your head. Bring them out into the world. Try and get an impact across, and that's really going to make your business grow much bigger than if you just sit at home with your idea in your head. A phenomenal episode of KYABAE Talkies comes to an end. Before we leave, we would like to give you a small token of our appreciation. Thank you, Easemint, for being a part of this episode of KYABAE Talkies. If you would like to be featured here, right here, sitting next to me, your entrepreneurial venture could be here and I could be at your office interviewing you next week. Contact us at info@kyabae.com. Until next time, see you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.